According to my analytics, over 40% of you are not subscribed. This is deplorable. Please subscribe to make sure I have plenty of treats, and also plenty of toys. Thank you, kind viewers.
Now, I have to say, I'm pretty fucking confused when it comes to the new Saints Row right now, because everything that we've seen, everything they've shown us, it looks pretty fucking bad, at least in my opinion. However, the most recent information they've released on their website, which I'll link down below if you want to go ahead and read it for yourself, sounds actually kind of good. And I read this on stream originally, and as I was going through it, I was like, oh wow, they're fucking honeydicking me here, because it all sounds incredibly interesting and not at all like what they've been showing us in the marketing, which leads me to believe what the game is and the way it's been talked about in the marketing campaign and the way that it's been spun is maybe a bit out of line. Maybe it's not at all what we thought it was. I don't know. Maybe that's wishful thinking from someone who wants a quality Saints Row game. But that being said, I thought I would make a video going into some of the things they brought up in this new segment of information to sort of explain why I feel the way that I do, why I feel a little bit conflicted now, and get your thoughts as well. So listen to what I have to say, and then let me know what you think in the comment section down below, because if you do still disagree after hearing this information, I would like to know why, because it'd be interesting to know why we feel differently. Regardless, however, let's hop in. Now, they talk about how after Saints Row 4, they couldn't really do this kind of game because of everything that happened in that, which is obvious. I was interested to see if there was a way they could work around it to keep the characters and take us in an old school direction at the same time, be a little bit creative, but I understand that's fucking difficult because it's utterly ludicrous what happened in Saints Row 4, so it makes sense that we're getting a reboot in that sense. However, they go on to say that it was, you know, with these new characters, they aren't grizzled characters deep in their criminal careers, but rather are at the start of their journey. Plus, it's always the ones you least expect who are often the most dangerous. Now, with this sentence here, it might sound like they're saying like, oh, this is why the characters suck, but in reality, they're acknowledging that these characters aren't grizzled characters deep in their criminal career, acknowledging that that is something that we want and something that is necessary of a Saints Row character. But what they're saying is they're not there yet. They are at the start of their journey, which leads me to believe that possibly we could see that transformation over the course of this game or multiple games. Maybe that's their intention, to eventually get them to that point, because we're seeing the origin here, and they don't want to necessarily ruin that, and that was the thing that I always thought would be actually interesting. If they start off as these millennial fucking losers, and they end up like, you know, the boss, Johnny Gat, Sean D. Pierce, they end up in that sort of position, who knows? They then go on to say that disillusioned with the American dream, trying to make ends meet, and sick of working for other gangs, our new characters decide to use their skills to start their own criminal venture, take over the city, and get rich. During this journey, they take over more and more of the underbelly of Santo Ileso, and that's when you start to notice some visual changes. And that's very interesting. It does, again, back up that idea that we're going to go on quite a character journey with these guys, that they're going to go from being these dumb young kids to actually understanding the criminal underworld and actually being in that position of being quite ruthless, being quite violent, and enjoying it at the same time. I think that there's a little bit of some hinting towards that, and that's the kind of thing that I really like. They then go on to talk about how, you know, the classic Saints flirt and the purple, they're all still there. However, they're not there at the start of the game. Eventually, it will develop, it will become part of it, and as the game progresses, you're going to be seeing more of that classic icon, as well as the purple becoming a thing for, you know, their HQ, their cribs, that sort of thing. They then go on to talk about each of the individual characters. Now, there's not super interesting new information for like Nina, Kevin, and Eli. However, there is a little bit here for Eli that I thought was pretty good, and it makes him sound a lot more interesting than what we've seen or we've heard before. So let me just read the segment for you. So it says, Eli is a business mastermind. Making money is more important to him than the moral issue of how that money is made. Eli is driven and determined and doesn't mind too much if a few people get hurt along the way. He came to Santo Ileso to make his fortune as an entrepreneur, to build a business for himself. He just didn't realize at the time that the startup he was going to build was a criminal empire. Now, I like this because it talks about how Eli's he's actually pretty ruthless. Like, he actually doesn't care if people are getting hurt. He's willing to hurt people to get what he wants because he wants to make as much money as possible. That sounds like a fucking saint. And that gets me hyped to see where they take these characters if they go in that sort of direction, and I really, really like that. Now, the thing that I really liked was the description of the boss. I really like the description of the boss. Let me read this for you, and I'll explain why. So it says, finally, the boss. Regardless of your look, you are the ultimate murder machine that shoots first, asks questions later. The boss is overconfident and doesn't do well following orders. Ultimately, the boss is you. You get to decide who you want to be and do things the way you want to do them. Become self-made and form the new Saints. Of course, the customization options allow you to literally make the boss how you want them to look and speak too, which is of course expected, but the bit that I really liked is where it says you are the ultimate murder machine, shoots first, asks questions later, overconfident, doesn't do well following orders. That is the boss. That is a great fucking description, especially that line, shoots first, asks questions later, because that's not something we've actually seen since Saints Row 2. That's the last time I think we've seen the boss shoot rather than speak to people, and I fucking love that description. If that's something they're following through with, and that is actually something we see present in this game, then that's really, really good shit. And obviously, if we are going on a character journey, I would like to see the boss develop from someone that does actually, talk to people and maybe gets fucked over a couple of times. Maybe the boss is too naive, trying to actually, speak to these other gang leaders rather than just fucking killing them, and then realizes the error of their ways at like the midpoint of the game and slowly develops over the course to, by the end point, is just fucking murdering everybody because, fuck everyone that's not a saint sort of thing. That would be really interesting to see, and if they do something that complex of a character journey, then I would be very, very interested to see it. They then talk here a little bit about the customization, and let me just read this segment for you. It's a bit of a decently large paragraph, but I'll read through it so you know what's going on, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. So it says, Saints Row wouldn't be Saints Row without customization. So of course, this game will have tons of customization. We built the biggest customization suite of any Saints Row game. We have the most in-depth character creator ever seen in a Saints game. You can create exactly who you want to play as, whether that's a stone cold killer or a fantastic looking freak show. There are 8 customizable voices you can give to the boss, 4 male and 4 female. All sound great, and again, more choice than we've ever offered in another Saints Row game. And also, you'll be pleased to hear layered clothing is back. Well done to the eagle-eyed of you that picked up on that. In terms of vehicles, we have a huge array of customization options to dig into, and any vehicle you customize will be safely stored in your garage. There's a lot to look forward to and much more to come, including some big surprises that we can't share just yet, as well as some features that are sure to make jaws drop. Now, hearing that there's a lot more customization options to be revealed, that's very interesting. One of the things that I thought this game always sort of nailed from what I heard them talking about, even in the terrible marketing, was gameplay-wise, customization and the way that you can tackle this city. I always thought that sounded cool. But the layered clothing being back, we've again not seen that since Saints Row 2. Because Saints Row 3 and 4, they did away with that completely with just preset outfits, and most of the outfits were dumb as well. Like, you've got fucking spacesuits and superhero outfits, and you're wearing a Genki head. Like, it all just sucked as customization. There wasn't that many outfits in Saints Row 3 and 4 that, like, actually looked cool to wear, you know what I mean? Like, whereas Saints Row 2, you could really make your character yours. All the clothes were just normal clothes for the most part, other than like a hot dog suit or whatever, but they were just bonus things. So it's cool to see that level of clothing customization return in Saints Row, and as well for the, vehicles, and the fact there's a lot more to come. It does get me excited to see where they're going to go with this, especially if the tone that they've been describing in this little article here does actually line up and actually ends up being good. It means that the gameplay will only be bolstered even more. Like I said, they're honeydicking me here. They also talk about the new setting. I'm not going to read this whole paragraph because it's not that important to read, but talking about the fact that they've rebooted the series. They've said there are Easter eggs and cameos from the previous games to be able to hunt down, and the city of Santo Ileso is based on the American Southwest, and you get to build your criminal empire in this huge open world. In the city, you'll see some recognizable stores, a whole host of new ones, and it also has its own set of radio stations, but you can still expect that excellent Saints Row taste in music, and they said they'll talk about that a little later on. And Saints Row's always had killer music, so I'm glad that's a thing that's staying unchanged. At least that's their opinion. So it could be they could have terrible music taste, and they just think it's good music taste. So yeah, that's a difficult one. It's very subjective, but interested. They then talk about co-op, how co-op will return in this. It'll be cross-gen, drop in, drop out, super easy to get into, and that's obviously sticking around, something that's integral to Saints Row at this point. And those are basically the core parts of this piece of information that I thought were worth talking about for why I feel a little bit conflicted now. If you want to read the entire thing from start to finish, there's a few more little bits about characters in there and a little bit more information about why the marketing was the way it was. There's just a few more paragraphs. It's not a huge deal of things though, so I'll link that down below if you want. But like I said, that's why I feel a little bit conflicted. I just feel like the things in here sound very interesting and actually quite good, and it's piqued my interest a little bit. Will the game suck? Will the game be great? It's too difficult to say at this point, but my interest is definitely peaked, and I, of course, will be playing the game probably regardless, purely because I want to make videos on it, whether that be some kind of quote-unquote review, critique, analysis, breakdown of like why the game did well or why the game didn't do well from my own point of view. So definitely when it does drop on my main channel, which is linked down in the description, which I'm actually going to be posting a Saints Row retrospective on very soon of the entire franchise, I will post a sort of breakdown of the game when it launches, of like, you know, what did it do well, what didn't it do well sort of thing, but from the point of view of Saints Row game, rather than like just a, you know, review in a vacuum. I want to make a video on like, did this game live up to Saints Row 2? Is this game a Saints Row game, or is this just another missable open world experience sort of thing? So those are my plans, but I guess only time will tell. I'm interested to see more of this though, and I just hope we get something good, you know. There's possibility. There is hope. Only time will tell. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. All of my shit links are in the description. Go give me a follow. Might as well. Why not? Out of pity. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you all in another video very, very soon. Alright, catch you later. Bye-bye.